Hello everyone, it's Tony here from Locks to Reads. I just thought I'd do my quick first video of the year, that is 2026, 18 days from my 55th birthday. You could probably make an estimated guess by how grey my hair is. So I thought I'd go through what my 2026 reading plans are. I've decided to commit to the Gilgamesh to As Far as I Get Before I Die project. There are two larger projects within that project, one which might be out of time. So the first thing is, obviously, I'm starting with the Epic of Gilgamesh. As I said before, I've read this is the old Penguin Classics translation by N.K. Sanders, which I very enjoyed. I've made notes. I've written up the notes for this one. I think I've read this 3 times. And then what I'm going to read first, though, is the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Norton Critical Edition. There is also some collateral reading. I have created a sort of birthday stroke, please be generous to a poor, sad old man list on Amazon, which I'll put a link in below, which is for some of the collateral reading or related reading to the Epic of Gilgamesh. If you want to be really generous and buy me a book, then that list I will, as I said, I will put a link in the show notes. Or you can donate me some money via my Ko-Fi. I thought I'd start the year with some undignified begging for money. Well, it wasn't begging, but you know what I mean. So that's the first project. So I'm going to do. I've not got a numbers thing on this. I haven't got a time structure for this. So we're going to start with the Epic of Gilgamesh. Then we're going to move on to ancient Egypt. Then we're going to move on to ancient Greece and ancient Rome. And then, also there's going to be in that timeline. There's also going to be sort of ancient India, ancient China. And things as they go, leading up to, as I said, as far as I get before I die. I expect I won't get to 2025 before I die, but that, or 2026 or 27 or whatever, whenever I die. The other plan that I have as part of this, which will probably involve skipping ahead or skipping round the actual timeline, because I don't think I will get to this if I stick to the structure, the timeline structure going forward. I'm going to read Edmund Spenser's The Fairy Queen. This is a very chunky, long, epic poem, written in, well, the first part of which was written in 1539, I believe. This copy has not updated the spelling to modern spelling, so it is actually written. There is some change in terms of punctuation, but generally it sticks to existing spelling. So this might take a while. I think this is an all-year project. When I start it, I don't know. Part of me wants to start it today and just start. I've read the introduction actually. I've read the whole. I've read part of the introduction. I haven't quite finished the introduction yet, because the introduction is actually, I have read the introduction. I haven't, just because there is a very short. The very introduction is very short. Actually, it's not even an introduction. It's a note on the text, table of dates, further reading, and then it goes into all the different introductions that Spenser wrote to various wealthy people that he was trying to butter up. Again, this will come with collateral reading, including a couple of other epic poems that had an influence on Spenser. So those are my two main projects: Gilgamesh and The Fairy Queen. I am probably going to concentrate on poetry, plays, non-fiction at this point. I want to leave myself space to read other random stuff as and when I feel in the mood to read stuff. I am not going to do a Goodreads challenge this year. I think it doesn't help me I'm just going to try and read whatever I want, but focus on that Gilgamesh to the present day program. Um, I took a picture of my to make the thumbnail for this video. That shows you the shelf that has the Gilgamesh, the first section of the various eras. You can see from that what my plan is. As I said, I don't want to set. This is more about me. I suppose the thing is more about me trying to work my way through literature. Um, it's a ridiculous exercise. It doesn't mean much. I am not a person who actually that much believes in canon, but I do have this belief, and I've said this before on this channel, that all books are effectively one book, and that the works written 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago have influenced books that are being written in 2026. The influence can sometimes be very direct and very obvious, but a lot of the time it's just a trail of influence that has carried through in terms of story structure. Which actually reminds me, I'm reading the other thing I'm reading because I had when I was at home with my parents, I gave some real thought to where stories come from, how myths and legends are created, how fiction was created. And I have been working on a short. I've made notes that I've been thinking about, and I remembered I had this book from I bought ages ago, John Yorke's Into the Woods, how stories work and why we tell them. Yorke's was created the BBC Writers Academy and has written a lot of drama. It's not a writing guide as such. It's more about why stories work the way they do. And it's about the root of storytelling. As far as I could tell, I've only read the introduction so far. So this is on my list. I'll probably read this. This will be a January read. So yeah, that's my reading plans for 2026. It's a bit vague. I may do a January specific one once I work out what I'm going to read around Gilgamesh. So obviously, we're definitely reading the Norton Critical Edition of Gilgamesh. And I'm definitely reading Between Two Rivers, which thankfully Amazon put on their Kindle sale for 99p, so I could pick that up using some vouchers. And then there's the other books, as I said, in my Gilgamesh wish list on my Amazon page. And that's about it, I think. I don't really want to go into too much detail. Gilgamesh, well, I'll do a video as I'm not sure how I'm going to structure the videos for the Gilgamesh project. I'm not an expert. I'm not an academic. There are people on Amazon that have made books about the Epic of Gilgamesh, and they are people who seem to know what they're doing in a way that I don't. But I'm going to try and put something together that is a kind of introduction and a discussion about why it's worth reading. I enjoyed reading the Penguin one. The fact that I've read it 3 times, it's very relatively short as well. The fact that I've read it 3 times suggests that it's a very readable book, although it's incomplete and obviously in translation. So yeah, that's the plan for 2026. It's the Epic of Gilgamesh to whatever year I get to before I die. Mostly poetry, plays, non-fiction. There will be fiction, obviously, as we get nearer. And also, there's a fine line, really, between myth, legend, fiction, really, which is something that I wrote some thoughts about in my little notebook. Yeah, so that's where we are. I'll keep this short. As if please like, comment, and subscribe. Um, it all helps with the algorithm. Apparently, not that I understand the algorithm in any way whatsoever. Um, and yeah, that's where we are. Have a good one, and I will speak to you all. Ooh, probably next week. Have a good one. Bye bye.